Okay, what we're doing here was checking Sheila's hips to see if the pelvis is articulated properly with the sacrum. I'm on top of her pelvis, and it's level. That's absolutely level. Okay, so with the pelvis level, let me just say real quick, with the pelvis level, you don't touch it. You do not crack it. You do not pop it. You do not do a full body adjustment. That is an assault. And Sheila, tell me what you were just saying about what they did. Let me pause it for just a second. Adjusted. Okay, Sheila was telling me about how she had gone to the chiropractor, and I'll just let you speak, Sheila.
I was feeling fine, and she offered to go ahead and adjust me. And when she did, after we were done, I was in extreme pain for several days.
Yeah, because she cracked it.
Yep.
And Sheila was out of pain at the time. For whatever reason, her body was able to adapt to the circumstances.
Yep.
And the chiropractor assaulted her, is what she did. And yet, who's doing anything about it? Nobody. It upsets me. Oh, I'd just go in there and I'd beat him up. It was me. Okay, I'm kind of short on time. That's why we're doing it quickly. But I just looked at her. Her head has moved to the right and clockwise. And I feel it better than I see it, but I can feel it. So to fix it, it's just one move, and it is a pull. But you got to be specific as to the reason why, the way you pull it. So I'm going to set up, and then I'm going to fix this. Okay, like I said, it's just one move. And it's one pull, and it is an upward pull based on where her head has moved to. And she's had an old injury. 25 years ago, she hurt herself. Oh. All right, now let's feel it. Okay, and then lean your head forward. I lifted you up, didn't I, Sheila?
Uh-huh.
Oh, that feels better already. Can you tell it?
Yep.
Okay. Okay. I'm going to pause it. I'm going to take a look at her. All right, we checked it, looked at it, everything's straight. I'm limited on time, and I don't want these damn doctors to try to copycat me or mimic me. I want the people to know that I am the expert and they can trust me. There is one thing that I do from here just to check. This is the brachial plexus. What's that feel like, Sheila?
The right side hurts.
Let me hold on to it for just a little bit. Okay. Now I can tell you guys, if you go back and look at these chiropractors, they're old materials. It's entirely different than what they're doing now. I'm telling you, they're watching me. Tubio in particular, I've criticized him for about 3 years, and Mondragon, both of them. And they've changed their protocols based on my criticisms, but they haven't been trained. They haven't respected me. You know, they don't know what they're doing. And I can see it. How's that feel now?
It's getting better.
It's getting better? Okay. Basically, with the head out of place for... How long do you think it's been this time, Sheila?
Probably a couple weeks.
A couple weeks. Mm-hmm. She hadn't seen me in, 3 months about?
Yeah.
And she said she thinks she slept wrong. I asked her if she slept in her stomach. She said no. But, you know, it's been such an old injury that she has a tendency, I mean, the groove or whatever is on the bone is still there until it has a chance to heal. And healing takes time. Don't let that idiot Tubio fool you to say that he healed something in one crack, because you can't do that. It takes time to heal. How's it feel now, Sheila?
It's better.
It's loosened up.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, the head out of place, the muscles are affected. I'm gonna try to hurt you this time. Okay. How's that feel? She said, and this is Princess P here.
I
Sheila
am
is Princess P.
I definitely feel it.
Anything travel into the head?
I don't think so.
No. Okay. Okay, so you had some statements about the chiropractors you thought you might want to share. She went to the chiropractor for how many years?
I don't remember how many years it was, but there were several different chiropractors. None of them ever gave me complete relief, and it was never permanent.
Right. And if she's feeling okay to go to the chiropractor just to get checked or whatever, why would you even go in if you're hurting?
Yeah.
Just because they told you to?
I've been told that it's a good idea to get chiropractic care even if nothing is wrong.
Right.
Because it's healthy for you.
Yeah, but they're
like I said, I
things.
did that one time, and I was in pain for several days after the fact.
Right. So anyway, people, I know you're not, can't really see us here, but don't trust these doctors just because they have a doctor or license. The licensing don't mean anything. Mm-hmm. And you'd be surprised how many chiropractors have contacted me, all excited to learn, have the possibility to learn Creighton's work. And I shoot them a fee, and they don't have the money, or they don't want to, give credit where it's due or something like that. And I mean, it's a fight. It's a fight. And yet they know who the expert is. And if it comes down to it, me and them in the defense post, I'm the one that's working on them. So, okay, real quick. Spinal manipulation at this point, because I've already squared up the bookends. And just to get the spine apart a little bit, just a little bit. And it helps things to shift. Okay. How's that feel, Sheila?
That's good.
It feels good to you? Mm-hmm. Okay. So I was pushing the pelvis where it belonged, straight down, holding it there. There's a little clump between her shoulder blades. Another little one. Okay. It's usually in the area. It's usually in this area right here, like around the bra strap. Lay there for a minute, Sheila. We got a couple little tiny little audibles that did sound off. They would call that an adjustment. That was the only adjustment according to them. An adjustment is a specific placement of a bone that's been partially moved out of position. The adjustment I did, the only adjustment I did, was the head on top. What I did to the spine was a manipulation just to get range, just a little, get them apart so they shift. And then, because she's been jacked, I guess you could say, with her head, heavy head of 10 to 15 pounds, kind of off center a little bit, spine compensates and distorts for it. And after a little while, muscles will tighten up. And if you give it long enough, it'll actually, calcium deposits, that kind of stuff. So, right, how do you feel now, Sheila? Princess P? Where are you?
Better.
Are you there? Can you see? There you are. Okay. So how long have you been seeing me now?
It's either 3 or 4 years.
Has it been that long?
Mm-hmm.
And she's consistently...
5 years, because it was 2020. Yeah, because it was a year.
Okay. And so, I say one and done. And if you get too earlier, the original injury, what was it?
Head and neck was probably when I was a kid. And then the lower back, where my hip pelvis was out of place, was 25 years before that.
And
I was in pain for 25 years until I saw you.
25 years. And what happened? You fell and...
Tripped and fell.
Flat on your back?
No, and then on my back. I took several steps and fell forward, but...
just a fall?
Yep.
So a fall put her... or exacerbated the pelvis, I guess, and she was active kid, I guess, and head and hip were out of place for time because it just happens, and nobody's, knowledgeable or aware how to deal with the problem. So our culture is being led astray and, allowed to grow crooked and in pain. So it upsets me, and I'm very emotional about what's going on in the healthcare industry. Healthcare together is an oxymoron. They don't belong together. Not at all, not in the system we got today. In chiropractic, if you ask me, is, they're the lead of the alternatives, but they're the worst because they could do what I'm doing. They could be what I am, but they passed. They didn't want to. Hence, they failed worse than the medical industry did, if you ask me. So, okay. One more thing, I'm going to have Sheila hit the catwalk and see how she feels. I'm going to pause this. So now we're going to have Sheila hit the catwalk and see how she feels.
Everything's flowing better.
Everything, you got more fluidity?
Yes.
Okay, good. So Sheila's success story, but it took her... 11 years, I think, after she actually found me. She found me on the internet. She can't remember how. She said what I had to say made a whole lot of sense. You have an opinion that you want to share about that right now?
It made sense to me that if you put the head on top where it belongs, and you make sure that the hip bones are where they belong, that everything else would heal itself. With chiropractic, they're popping your spine, and it's not going to put those bones back in place.
Nope, it doesn't at all.
No matter how many times they do it.
No matter how many times they do it. They get a pop, they get a crack. Ultimately, it is an assault because they don't know what they're doing. They don't know what they're doing. And it pisses me off in no uncertain terms, basically, and I'm very vocal about it. So right now I've got Tubio and Mondragon on the ropes, and Johnson, I haven't had anything to say to him in a while, but he flipped me off years ago. We actually went to the state of Texas, and we went to the Attorney General's office. So that's still a kettle of worms that needs to be addressed, I guess you could say. But my message is to the people, hey, you know, the expert is who you're looking at right now. You need to get to the expert in order to get the problems fixed. It takes time to heal. You know, monitor the position of the bones, the head and the pelvis. You can't allow these chiropractors to cause laxity in your ligaments, because then you're real set and duck. And basically, you know, you're going to have a chance. But ultimately, chiropractic needs to be shut down. They have refused to make the improvement for over 30 years. And I had a friend at Walmart, I drive for Spark. She said, how can you trust a chiropractor if they're not going to do it right? Which is basically pay for their education. I said, kind of my sentiment exactly. You can't trust them. And that's what it's all about. It's about trust. And you can't trust the chiropractic industry. I don't care who's in it. Okay, so we've had a chance to look over the tapes, and we've had a good laugh about a couple of things. Sheila is, what has it been, about 5 minutes. So basically, we flipped. How do you feel now, Sheila? I'm always putting this camera in your face. Sorry about that.
Much better. And the part even that was still kind of hurting has stopped.
It stopped? Okay, good.
Yeah, and I can turn
without
issue. So, yeah.
So basically, that just shows fluidity is what that means. Tubio he doesn't actually check it. I checked the pelvis before and after if I was to place it. I didn't need to today, although that was the starting place when we had to deal with it, because if the foundation of the house is not level, then the rest of the house above that is going to be affected. So fortunately, Sheila's pelvis is in a good place. Not to say she won't do something next week, because she's done that, but we're hoping not. But if it does happen,
I will be back.
Yeah, she'll come to see me. She knows better. And she is on the healing path, is what it is. So it takes time to heal. And I don't know. They always say, what's your scale? I'm sure your scale between 1 and 10 was over the charts in the original.
Originally, oh yeah. I had moments where it was a 15 on my lower back.
Yeah, and that was even with chiropractic care, whatever.
Oh, yes.
And now your experience with me, I'm going to go ahead and flip this. Excuse me. Your experience with me, I mean, your Princess P, she was extremely sensitive. It takes her a couple days to kind of settle in.
Lower back, yeah, definitely takes probably 3 to 5 days for everything to finally settle, and then I'm like, okay, everything's fine now.
Which I think has to do with her body addressing an inflammation that's in there. But we also talk about, in fact, I got the grains. Do you have the grains? We'll just go ahead and pull them out. This addresses, it's a recipe of 8 grains, wheat, rye, rice, oat groats, millet, flaxseed, barley, and soybeans. I'm pretty good about that. The only one that's cooked is soybeans. Grandpa used it. He lived almost 100 years. And he swung a golf club until he's like mid-90s, I think it was. But if you have a mineral deficiency, that will address it. So Sheila's going to get back on her grains again. And it will help facilitate and speed up the, addressing the inflammation, and whatever her body might be lacking is going to be supplied by those grains, and then she'll feel a lot better still.
Yeah, so if it's a pain is at a 1, like an achiness, the grains will help kind of settle that, and then it goes down to a 0.
Right. And so as of right now, where would you say you're at?
Well, when I came in, probably a 1 or 2, and so now it's probably a low 1.
Okay, so she just knew that, hey, I got a problem here. So instead of, we ran into each other the other day at Walmart, and she knows, we talked briefly, she knows that if she puts either one of these bones out of place, pelvis or head, that she's just going to go backwards.
Yep.
And she knows what that leads to. So she don't want to go backwards.
It's painful.
Yeah.
It's painful when it's out.
Yeah. And so she's going to degenerate. How old are you, Sheila? Do you mind telling?
53.
53. You're that old now.
Yes.
Wow. I'm 60. And anyway, so us old ladies get around just fine, you know, although I think you would have probably qualified as being disabled at some point in time, wouldn't you?
Pretty close, yeah.
Yeah, she was headed that way, and I pulled her back from the edge, and now she set her feet on the healing path, and she's been on the healing path now for 5 years, and she can definitely tell the difference.
Oh, yes.
So
I could tell the difference after the first time I saw you.
I put the hip in place.
Yep.
Yeah. And so there's that immediate, you know, Tubio's claim, you know, healed in one crack. There's no healing, but the insult was removed. It was placed correctly in my case. Now, in his case, he wants to pop it both ways. They're getting endorphin response. They're getting, you know, painkillers. But, you know, like you said, after the fact, days later, you know, you were hurting. So
you just go backwards after you see a chiropractor,
and
it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, and I agree.
Why the body would go out of whack if they fixed it.
Yeah,
it shouldn't go back to painful.
Yeah, exactly. That's my point. Exactly, is that if they're going to put it in place in the first move, why are they undoing it in the second move? Yeah, and that's the reason why you can't trust them. So. Though they don't know what they're doing, it is obvious to me, and I'm trying to wake the public up to that fact. And like I said, they either or need to come pay their dues and learn it from me directly, where I can be confident that they know what they're doing and I can point the way to them. And of course, that has to do with a cash transaction. Or the public needs to say, I don't trust you, I'm not going to you. Get into their pocketbooks, they'll change their ways. So, and that's where we're at.